All right, hey, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. Welcome back to the show. Happy to have you along for the build log number 2 of the Colonial Viper Mark VII. This is going together really well. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a lot of fun actually with this one. It's been a bit since I've done a model from start to finish in kind of short order, but we're making good progress. For those of you here for the first time, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button and see all of the content that comes out, we appreciate that greatly. Of course, hitting the bell to get notified when a new video comes out is also appreciated, and it gives you an idea of when I'm releasing the next video. Also, if you'd like to share or comment, and of course, most importantly, if you'd like to hit that like button, I appreciate that. Helps the channel to grow and helps us to grow more subscribers and bring more content to you. So we are going to move forward with the Viper here. We've got we're ready to do some priming. We're ready to I think get the interior cockpit put together and in. I think the engines will be put in, and then we're going to get started on that blue paint job. This is going to be kind of a new experimental run for me. I've never done what I'm going to do on this one, which is doing some pre-shading with some black and trying some really fine coats of blue. So without further ado, let's get started, and here comes the Viper Mark VII from Battlestar Galactica. Thank you. Okay, back at the Viper Mark VII. Just kind of give you an idea of what this looks like just prior to closing it up. So I already have closed up the little tiny engine at the top, and it's got its little insert in there. It's been painted carbon black on the inside. Gunmetal on the whole outside, and there's some pieces that fit in here later, but I think I can put those in after a bit. I put all 3 engines bulbs into one, and now I've got a little piece of heat shrink here ready to go, and now I'm going to solder this up and big key here. Since it's a lot of wires, just let it heat and run just like so. That's a nice solder, quite honestly. Very pleased with that. I need to get a piece of black wire here, and again, I'm just using this wrapping wire. I don't know, it comes with got 1,000 feet, something like that, so you shouldn't have any trouble using this for multiple years in the long run. Strip there, and I am bringing that in from the bulkhead of the engines, if you will. That's probably the best word for it. Bringing that up, another little piece of heat shrink here, just putting that on. So often I forget to do that and have to undo it later. And again, same thing here. I've got my negatives, and just wrapping it like so. Another little round of solder. Excellent. And then my little heat shrink here. This one. There we go. And then just pull this on through. Pull this one on through. And now I have got that prepped. Now, I was noticing, I want to go ahead and put this piece in here, and they kind of fit in whichever way they want to, but I'm going to put that in just using a little bit of gap filling medium. A little bit of CA here. And I will say this, to the inventor of CA glues that can figure out how to have a trigger pump or a pump that works forever, I will be eternally grateful. Just figuring that out just completely, how many bottles of this stuff I've wasted over the years just because it's so challenging to use. So we'll switch to a little thick CA, and I want that detail towards the outside, and these do fit in a certain way. I'm not sure if they're not hexagonal or what the And again, like I mentioned earlier, this has got a bit of a challenge with diffusion, so I'll be right back with that. Thanks. Alright, hey, a little bit of success. So, what I've got is I've got this LED, 5mm LED that is blue, flickering blue, and then I just took a little bit of cotton ball, fiber fill, and stuffed it in behind that, and then simply took and placed my engine cover over the top of that. And that is going to give me something akin to that look right there. You can kind of see there in the background. Hopefully you can see that in photo. And it's really just subtle, but I like what I'm seeing. So I've got to go ahead and finish gluing that up. I'm not sure what's going on here with why it's doing that. Yeah, it's not the right one. Maybe this is. Yeah, that's better. Even better. So I had to, got to get the right one on the right one. So now, again, we're glued up, and you can see that that difference right there. So I'm going to finish the other one, and we'll come back to it. Thanks. Okay, back here with the Viper Mark 7, and I now have the engines glued up. You can see that they are firing away. They've got nice diffusion. Really happy with the way that that turned out. Now I can go ahead and fix these light leaks back here, and on top there's the same thing. Right on the seam there's a light leak on all of those, but that's okay because I'm going to do another spray coat of the metallic gray over this, and then do some washes, and we'll figure out what else we need to do. But I am really happy with the result here. Very happy with that. So, you know, we got just one set of wires that'll again feed into the front of the cockpit when that is all said and done. And so this lighting's done, and the lighting in the cockpit is done. There's one more piece of lighting. Let's hook this up. This is going to be the lighting for the non-Canon strobe on top, that I'll have a 3-person strobe. But right now, that is just super bright white. I really love that, and when that flashes 3, that's going to look great. So this is the tailpiece that's glued up, and I've actually used a little bit of this Microscales Micro Mask, and this is liquid mask medium, and it's pretty heavy. So what I did is just put a glop on the top of that, and I think you can see it when it's not lit up. So there's a glop on the top of this, and now I think I can go ahead and do one more after this dries once more, and with that another dollop on it. I'm just trying to mask that so I can just go ahead and spray this whole piece and start getting some primer on here, get it sanded up, get the seam sanded up, and see how she turns out. So that is glued up. That means all of my wiring is essentially done. Now I can go through, now that we've got the wiring done, I can go through and start with, this assembly is done except for the gun. I'm going to do the landing gear and all that separately. Canopy and all that stuff is done. Here's the pilot. We'll work on that. The seat's done, if you will, ready to go, and that's done with the cockpit and so the guns and so forth. But here's the engines that are all done, and I've got to put this piece in right here. These 2 pieces, I've got to get those painted up. I'm going to do a contrasting color to that, to the metallic gray, or actually gunmetal gray that I used in there. I'm thinking of doing something funky with that, just to have a little fun with it. And then assembly. So pleased with the results after working through a lot of these challenges. It's actually not too bad of a kit. It does go together really well so far. I did use my modeling clay to mount those bulbs in there in the engines, and I think that's going to be really nice and in good shape. So very, very pleased. We'll keep working on this, and when we come back, we might have some primer on this, and we'll be off and running. Thanks. Always cleaning when I turn the cameras on, because I don't clean any other time. All right, great progress. First of all, the cockpit is in. It's been light blocked, covered up a lot of the light bleeds that were coming through. There's still going to come some light up from the bottom, but that's okay. I also took and filled this in with microcrystal clear around this point here, and then painted it chrome silver so that it matches. We've got a coat of primer on this. I've got these little gun button modules are in, and that'll get a coat of primer. So that's ready to glue up with the engines. And then this is in, and it's been sanded with its first coat of primer, and that's ready to glue on and go from there. The engines, I just put a fresh coat of chrome silver on the tips, and then I'm going to go over that lightly with transparent blue and see if that gives me kind of a burnt, you know, like you see chrome on motorcycles where they're blue, and that's what I'm going to go for on that. Finished, filled in all the light leaks on this one here as well, so that is ready to go. I have epoxied in 2 things. So this is the hole where the goofy Moebius stand goes. That's not worth anything. And so I taped over it, filled that with epoxy, and then put my post in, filled that with epoxy, so that's good to go. That's just actually hardening up as we speak. So that's done. And the rest of the parts are now in paint and getting their first coat of primer on those. So very pleased with the progress we're making. It's coming along now very quickly, and it should go very quickly as soon as we've got this virtually wired in and glued up, and we should be off and running. So I will be back with this glued up and then ready to start spraying the coats of blue on here that need to go on. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, progress on the Moebius models. Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark VII. We're at the point where we're ready to glue the primary hull together, and we do have a bit of a challenge. With the Paragraphics kit in here, we have a fitment problem, and I watched Lou's video, Lou, my hero on this stuff. I watched his video, and the problem is right here that these two, there's not enough clearance in there to get that to go all the way in. It leaves you a gap, and the gap is very challenging. So what I have done is I've taken my little grinder and ground away part of the plastic, and I also ground away on this particular spot right here, because that's what's hitting on both corners there to get this to fit. We're almost there, still not 100%. These are fine. It literally is those two little corners right there have a significant challenge. I am 98, 99% of there, but I still have to grind away a little bit more to close this up. Once that's done, and once this fits without crushing it together, then I'm going to go ahead and epoxy this in and give us our hull. This, of course, can fit on at any point with the engines, and I do think those turned out really pretty nice with that blue and then sterling silver over the top of that. And I haven't weathered it or anything, but I think once the weathering goes on, that'll be just fine. So let me keep at this, and when I'm back, hopefully these two pieces will be together. See you in a bit. All right, hey, welcome back to the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark 7 from the Reimagined series. We are making wonderful, fantastic, quick progress and strides here, so I'm very pleased about a couple of things. I went ahead and painted the hull using a system where I've seen online where guys will pre-shade, and I pre-shaded just all of the panel lines with a dark blue from Tamiya dark blue. And then I've gone over with a custom mix that's part metallic gray and part frost metallic blue, again using my craft paints. And I am just super thrilled with the color. Not quite as blue as I was hoping, but it's blue enough. And the seams are all filled in, and for the most part we are almost there. Engines are in now. It's a matter of just doing our greeblies at this point. We do have our wiring taken care of. We're ready to do two pieces of that. One for the main engines and one for the strobe light on top. Now, as far as colors go, a couple of things. I went ahead and painted this the guns with an enamel graphite, and man, I really like that. It's just got the right sheen to it. And for the most part, I am really excited with how that looks at this stage. So that's the metallic graphite right there from just Testors metallic graphite. Again, you can see how nice that turns out. I need to let that sit and dry for a couple of more hours. On the engine pieces, I wanted to stay with that blue. So here's an electric blue from Mission Models that I got, and I really like that as well. So we're going to be taking those off and putting that on here shortly. And then finally I painted a dark blue on these two pieces that go onto the engine jet. As far as greeblies go, that's about it. I am doing this in flight, so I've gone ahead and glued in the covers or panels on the landing gear. So this will look like it is definitely in flight. And so now it's just a matter of adding those, like I said, adding the greeblies, and once those are in, then we are off and running. And I'm going to put some laser blast on this with some weathering. So a couple of things I've got to do. I'm going to fill this little gap right here. This gap right here is on both sides. I'm going to fill that with microcrystal clear and use a wet Q-tip to smooth that out, and then I'm just going to touch that up with my paint that I've been using for the hull. I really like, now that I see it in place, this is metallic gray going to blue, then with silver painted over it, so it gives me a really nice look. And again, the interiors of those have been painted a flat black for rocket exhaust. Also on the inside, this color here and this color here, and I'm not sure if you can see that anywhere. Let's get a little bit more light here. Those two colors there and there have been painted with a color changing blue. Also very pleased with that. So, greeblies, and a little more touch-up, and then we'll get to the decals, and then the weathering, and then we'll put this one to bed, and then get on to the diorama for these 3 ships. This one, the Mark II, and the Viper, not the Viper, the Cylon Raider. So let me go to work, and when we come back, we'll have the Greeblies on this. Thank you. Okay, hey, moving along with the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark VII, and really pleased with the progress here in the last few hours, and we are quickly approaching the finish line on this. What we have here is the lighting is complete. You can see that the rear engines are in, or the engines are in. All my little Greeblies. I really like this color. The color that I use for that is Mission Models Iridescent Duck Teal. And I actually might use that on some USS Starships from Star Trek. Have my light here on the top is functioning and working really well. Very pleased with that. And the lighting there. And then the lighting in the cockpit is just absolutely superb for me. I'm just totally thrilled. If we pull off the canopy here, you can possibly see, maybe get that going there. We've got our heads-up display there, really came out nice. The center display is just, I'm just super thrilled with all of that. Down on the computer, the sides, even on this side here, the things that need to be lit up are lit up, and very minimal light leaks. Canopy goes on a little bit tough because of that center top piece. When it comes time to it, I'll actually tack that down with some canopy glue. I have also put a coat of gloss clear on this. However, I really don't want to go too badly or too much because of the because I'm trying to keep this looking metallic rather than just a plasticky toy. But I put a couple of coats of gloss on that in order to move on with the decals, and that's the last thing we have here. Now, a couple of things on the decals that I'm very excited about doing. You've got all of these Vipers here, which is kind of cool. I'm sorry, you've got all of these Colonial Cylon Raiders here as, marked how many kills you've got. You've got Narcho, Starbuck, Hot Dog, Apollo, Chuckles, and Cat for the different nameplates on the side. And I love Chuckles, so I'm going to put Chuckles in there. And then you've got 2 different tail numbers that go in there, some no steps, some danger intakes, and then Galactica, Pegasus. These actually go onto the pilot, and I'm not sure what that K is yet. We'll get to it, but these should go pretty quick, and we should have some progress. So we'll be back after we've got the decals on. I am concerned, and I'm not sure what to do about it, but I'm sure it's going to happen. This is a fairly rough surface, which is fine. The challenge is going to be that we probably are going to have some silvering underneath these decals. That's the nature of it. I've put a couple coats of clear on this, and it's still not smoothing out. I would have to wet sand it to do that. I'm not willing to do that because I've got this almost exactly where I'm at, so I'm willing to sacrifice the decals for what we're doing, and we'll hope that the microsol will take care of it. So let me go to work on the decaling, and we'll be back. Thanks. Okay, hey, fast progress here on the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark VII. All the decals have been put on, and now I am currently in the process of using Tester's Create FX Enamel Stain, and this color is FX Gray Stain, and I've never used this before, but I am absolutely amazed at how nice this is changing the whole dynamic of this model. And as you fill in these, it's a panel wash or panel line wash, right? But on this paint, that again, like I said, it's got definitely some challenges, but this is an enamel
rather than an acrylic, so it shouldn't go too crazy here, but I'm just giving the whole thing a kind of a wash here, apparently. And when you come down to these panel lines on the wings, it's amazing to me how it just changes the whole look and feel. You can see those panel lines fill in. And just like that, we are. Now look how nice this does on these. I don't think they're guns. I don't know what they are. But, you know, those grooves in there all of a sudden just pop. Same thing with here on the actual gun pods themselves. Everything it just gives me such a nice set of lines there that they weren't before. You know, you can kind of see the difference on the one side versus the other. That side's been done, this side has not. And as I go down the side of this, it's filling in those panels exceptionally well. And now I think it's just a matter of letting that dry for a little bit. You can see the bottom side's been done, and apparently, and this stain just gives me just such a nice look. So it's actually done. I'm going to let that sit for a bit. And again, I got this at Michael's. It was on clearance. FX stain, gray stain, and I got a couple of different colors, but for the most part, very happy with that. How it just kind of changed the whole dynamic look and feel of the ship, top and bottom. Alright, so that is about the final step here on the Mark 7 before we get to the diorama. I'm going to clean this up with a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of my homemade thinner. I think would work just fine on a Q-tip. But let's let that dry, and when we come back we'll have a quick wrap. Thank you. Okay, concluding with the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark 7, and just bringing this across the finish line here as far as the build on this goes. The next step after this would be to build in my diorama for the Battlestar Galactica Cylon Raider of the Reimagined series, and for the Viper Mark II, which I have both completed. So definitely bringing this across the finish line. Very happy with the paint on this and the lighting. I do have to polish up my canopy there, I see, but the decals went on super nice, and really pleased with that pre-shading, and then the after the pre-shading, using the stain that I used for doing the panel lines, and that is something I'm going to try to do much more of, but definitely very excited about that. I did use this Model Master semi-gloss clear lacquer as my final coat for this, and it's actually drying right now, so I'm going to try not to touch it too often here. But that is the final coat of that. It's on top and bottom, and it just gave me such a nice metallic sheen and look, especially like here on the bottom. Super pleased with that. And then of course on the top it still has like a metallic sheen, but we're definitely talking a nicer look here through and through. So this is going to bring this to a conclusion on the build. Like I said, the diorama is next. For those of you who come along on the journey, I appreciate it greatly. Both my new subscribers, and you're awesome, and the subscribers that have been with me for a long time, thank you so much for your continued viewing. It really helps to bring the channel along. Working on some exciting things next. The diorama is the next, but I'm also working on a couple other things just for my own use, not even on the channel, but having a little fun there. Thank you for your subscriptions, your shares, your likes, your comments, and if you do have anything that you'd like to say, please do so. Always welcome those. And until then, this is a Sloppy Modeler saying thank you and signing off. Take care.